identifier for each mill. So it will have,
That small? That small?
yes.
You understand it, right?
Well, there's going to be a lot of other information in there.
It's just to
This is just to identify
each
the
mill.
mills. And so it tells, if we know the name of the mill, it has the name of the mill. It has the type of mill. It has the country it's from, the flag of the country. It has, if we know the city, it has the city. If not, we put what province it's in or whatever identifying information we've got. And then a paragraph or two of some information about the mill. So these will be located on, there's no reading rails up at the moment, but running along the top of the fencing will be slanted reading rails. And this will be one of the elements on there, except we have 3 windmills that will be under plexiglass, and for those we'll put this plaque also under the plexiglass right next to the mill. So that's basic mill identification. But the theme or the title of our whole exhibit is Windmills Changing the Times, Changing with the Times. So we are focusing on how did windmills affect the world? What difference did it make because we had windmills? And then also, how did windmills change over time? How did they evolve? How were they impacted by changing technology, changing economics, those types of things? So the third paragraph here says there will be 6 to 8 sub-themes that visitors will explore about how mills changed the world or how they changed over time, including things like how mills help build communities, nations, and economies. So there'll be like a whole panel that will talk at a map of the Netherlands showing all of the land that was reclaimed by using drainage mills and creating the polders. How mills were used in innovative ways, like using the sails as a form of communication. So there will be another set of information that will show the different cross-arm positions and what they meant. How mills evolved in design over time. So that would get into what was the advantage of a hollow post mill over a post mill, a smock mill over a post mill, of patent sales, of fantails. So all those types of things would fall under there. Pollution and occupational hazards of milling. So this is an example of where we're trying to give the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole picture of saying, if you live next to a fulling mill that was making felt, you had some definite pollution there. They used aged urine in the process, and it was nasty. They were called stink mills. If you worked in a paper mill or in the fulling mill, both of them involved pounding, and one of the occupational hazards was miller's deafness. Paint mills used wood dust as part of the binding with the paint, but if the millers inhaled too much of that, they could get blood poisoning. So they would either put like a wet sponge over their mouth and nose so that it would be absorbed. I mean, they didn't have EPA, face masks that they could use, or they drank a lot of milk so that the wood dust would bind with the milk before it could be absorbed into the bloodstream. So trying to show people that there's good and bad things, and in fact we will have an introductory panel, and we'll be basically defining change and saying, how do you view change? Is it exciting? Is it threatening? Is it positive? Is it challenging? And inviting them to see change through the lens of the windmills, of how 700 years of them being the powerhouses of the world, and then, what caused their decline, what's causing their resurgence in the form of wind turbines, so that kind of story. There will also be a display on the heel mills. That's what that case there will be. So in addition to the formal photo, there will be Hank and June, Hank has an amazing collection of personal photos. We're really lucky, I mean, going all the way back to when he's like 4 years old. And while he was in the Dutch Marines, and he's got a picture of himself with a bunch of the other Dutch students who were all forced laborers at the Volkswagen plant in Wolfsburg, Germany. Just some fantastic photos. So we will have kind of a scrapbooky collage that's more personal looking of the Helena story and how the windmills happened to end up here in Fulton. So that's pretty much the display. And then there's two things that I wanted to mention that